Apple rejected Elon Musk's $5 billion Starlink deal, but was it a smart move or a fatal mistake? What followed was a tech war no one saw coming. So, who's really winning? Chapter 1. The Clash of Titans. When two of the biggest forces in tech go head-to-head, the world pays attention. On one side, there's Elon Musk, the billionaire genius with a mind that dances between planets and code. From launching rockets with SpaceX, disrupting the automotive industry with Tesla, reshaping digital conversations with X, and even boring tunnels underground to change how cities move, Elon is everywhere. He's known for taking colossal risks and almost unbelievably winning most of the time. Then on the other side, we have Apple, the world's most valuable brand, a polished tech empire with global loyalty that borders on religious. From iPhones and MacBooks to Apple Watch and AirPods, they've built a seamless ecosystem that billions depend on. Under the steady leadership of Tim Cook, Apple doesn't just sell products, it shapes lifestyles. So what happens when Elon Musk, the man known for pushing limits, approaches Apple with a multi-billion-dollar proposal? You expect fireworks, and that's exactly what we got. But what many didn't expect was Apple saying no, but Apple passed. To understand why this happened and why it matters, we need to dive into the moment that led Elon to make the offer in the first place. Chapter 2. Elon Musk's strategic leap. This wasn't a random business pitch, it was a calculated move from Musk to lock in the biggest hardware company on Earth before satellite internet became the new Wi-Fi. A deal like this would mean iPhones, watches, and other Apple devices could run smoother and smarter anywhere on Earth, no cell towers needed. But timing is everything. Musk made the offer at a moment when Apple was experimenting with its own satellite tech, quietly working with Globalstar for emergency features and planning more. Musk saw the opportunity to take Apple's ambitions further, faster, and own the connection layer. From the outside, it looked like a win-win. Apple would gain an exclusive edge over its rivals, Starlink would scale rapidly with a massive new user base, and both companies would share dominance in a future where satellite connectivity becomes the new normal. But what Elon underestimated was Apple's fear of losing control. Chapter 3. Apple's rejection. To many, it seemed unthinkable that Apple would reject a deal this big, but behind that smooth glass and aluminum design, Apple's decisions are governed by hardcore strategy and ruthless calculation. The $5 billion offer, plus an annual $1 billion fee, might sound massive, but for Apple, it wasn't about the price, it was about what they'd lose. Accepting Musk's deal meant agreeing to 18 months of exclusivity, which would tie Apple's hands and restrict its ability to explore other options. That's not how Tim Cook operates. Apple likes to quietly test multiple paths before committing to one. Partnering with SpaceX would have locked them into a single direction, and under Musk's control, no less. There were also regulatory dangers lurking behind the scenes. If Apple expanded satellite services beyond emergency features, it could be reclassified as a telecommunications provider. That change would bring heavy government regulation, surveillance expectations, and security risks. It could force Apple to create backdoors into iMessage and FaceTime, shattering their hard-earned reputation as a privacy-first company. For a brand that has built its empire on secure ecosystems and trust, this risk was too big. Plus, there were delicate partnerships at stake. Apple works closely with telecom carriers all over the world. Suddenly competing with them using satellite internet could blow up long-standing alliances, damaging supply chains and reducing device access in key markets. For a company obsessed with seamless global rollouts, that kind of fallout is a nightmare. So instead, Apple stuck to its slow drip approach. They've already invested in Globalstar, a smaller satellite partner, and they're rolling out satellite features only where it makes sense, like emergency SOS messaging and potential upgrades in the next-gen Apple Watch Ultra 3. In essence, Apple said no because they want control of the wheel, not a rocket ride with Musk at the helm. They're not ready to let one visionary, no matter how brilliant, dictate the next frontier of Apple connectivity. Chapter 4. Musk's counterstrike. Apple may have shut the door on Elon Musk's $5 billion proposal, but if history has taught us anything, it's that Musk doesn't walk away. He re-enters the room with a flamethrower. Mere weeks after Apple's rejection, SpaceX unveiled Starlink Direct to Cell, a direct competitor to the satellite plans Apple had been quietly nurturing through its Globalstar deal. The message was clear: if you won't partner with me, I'll outpace you. But Musk didn't just launch a competitor, he launched a revolution. Teaming up with T-Mobile, he began integrating Starlink's satellite network directly into smartphones, bypassing the need for extra hardware or emergency-only features. Suddenly, remote areas without cell towers were gaining access to messages, calls, and even data, all through the sky. And yes, even iPhones could tap into the system, effectively slashing Apple's exclusivity ambitions at the knees. In just one bold move, Musk shifted the momentum from Cupertino to SpaceX headquarters. This wasn't just business, it was vengeance wrapped in innovation. Chapter 5: Internal tensions within Apple. Even inside Apple's spaceship-like HQ, not everyone was aligned with Tim Cook's decision to reject Musk's offer. Cracks in the armor began to show. Craig Federighi, Apple's software chief and a major voice inside the company, reportedly expressed concern over Globalstar's aging infrastructure and lack of innovation. He, along with other senior voices, believed Apple needed a stronger and more scalable satellite partner if it was to compete in a world where space-based communication was becoming the next gold rush. This wasn't just about preference, it was about survival. Relying on Globalstar meant trusting outdated hardware to support next-gen iPhones and upcoming Apple Watch features. Federighi and others worried that Apple might be building future innovations on crumbling foundations. The discontent wasn't loud, but it was growing. In Silicon Valley, even a whisper can become a roar. If enough leaders inside Apple began to lose faith in the Globalstar path, it could pressure Tim Cook to reassess. And with Musk accelerating Starlink's reach and influence, Apple's window for acting from a position of strength was closing rapidly. Chapter 6: The fight over spectrum. But this tech clash wasn't going to remain in boardrooms and product launches. It spilled into the courtroom, where SpaceX launched a legal salvo against Apple's satellite partner, Globalstar. At the heart of the battle, the wireless spectrum, those invisible airwaves essential to satellite communication. SpaceX argued that Globalstar wasn't making full use of its assigned spectrum and was essentially hogging bandwidth it couldn't manage. That accusation struck a nerve. If SpaceX succeeded in its legal maneuver, Apple could find itself without the backbone for its satellite features, no more emergency text messaging, and no more silent promises of future connectivity. In a worst-case scenario, Apple would be left stranded mid-flight, with no way to connect its users to the stars. And here's where things get more intense. Apple's deal with Globalstar was already seen as limited, focused only on emergency communication. It was never a full Starlink-style satellite internet dream. But if Globalstar loses its grip on the spectrum, Apple may be forced into a corner it desperately tried to avoid, crawling back to Elon Musk, but this time with less leverage and a bruised ego. Chapter 7: Potential consequences for Apple. Now, after all these, Apple faces a moment it has rarely encountered, being left behind. While Musk expands satellite-to-phone capability at blistering speed, Apple remains locked in deals with an outdated partner and under pressure from regulators who might reclassify it as a telecom provider if it tries to expand further. It's a catch-22. If Apple goes deeper into satellite communication, it risks government oversight, backdoor surveillance demands, and tension with current carrier partners. But if it doesn't, it risks irrelevance in a world where smartphones are expected to work anywhere, anytime, even off the grid. And should SpaceX win the legal battle over spectrum access, Apple could be stripped of even its emergency satellite features. Imagine an iPhone 16 launching without the life-saving satellite text features users now expect. That's not just a technological regression, it's a reputational blow. The longer Apple waits, the narrower its escape routes become. If Cook re-engages with Musk, it'll be from a weaker, humbled position. If he doesn't, he risks letting the world's richest man dominate yet another industry Apple once hoped to lead. But why does this matter? Chapter 8: Why this matters. What we're witnessing isn't just a corporate spat, it's a battle for the future of connectivity. This war between Apple and Elon Musk's SpaceX is defining who will control the skies above our devices. In places where towers can't reach, mountains, oceans, war zones and disaster areas, satellites will be our lifeline. And the company that owns that lifeline, they'll own the next chapter of the digital age. This battle also reflects a deeper divide in how innovation happens. Apple, calculated and secretive, aims for polished perfection. Musk, brash and chaotic, goes for rapid domination. It's a clash of philosophies, of power, and of egos. And for the first time in a long while, Apple isn't dictating the tempo, it's scrambling to keep up. From iPhones quietly pinging satellites to legal battles over spectrum, every decision made in this conflict has implications far beyond tech. It affects geopolitics, emergency preparedness, consumer freedom, and the delicate ecosystem of telecom partnerships. One wrong move and even giants can stumble. Chapter 9: The Strategic Endgame. Tim Cook thought he was playing a long game, slow, steady, and safe. But Musk doesn't play long games. He reshapes them mid-match. He isn't waiting for permission, partnerships, or perfect timing. He's building the future whether Apple joins or not. Now, as Apple stands at a crossroads, with internal fractures, legal threats, and technological risks closing in, it must decide to stay its current course and risk obsolescence, or make a move that requires swallowing its pride and renegotiating with the most unpredictable man in tech. And while Apple hesitates, Musk is already orbiting the future. So who is winning in this game? Comment below, let's discuss.